Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we were going to talk about one of the most important and urgent topics that people rarely discuss honestly: how you should actually prepare for World War III. This isn't about fear-mongering or sensationalism, but about understanding the real steps you can take right now to be ready for a world that could change overnight. Most of the advice you hear online is either too vague, too unrealistic, or designed to scare you into buying things you don't need. In this video, we'll break down what you should truly focus on if a global conflict ever escalates. The first thing to understand is that preparation is not only about weapons, bunkers, or stockpiles of canned food. The truth is, most people will not be in active combat zones, but everyone will be affected by the ripple effects of war. Disruptions to supply chains, economic collapse, food shortages, and cyber attacks are far more likely to impact your daily life than direct fighting. That means your first line of preparation should be securing the essentials you and your family need to survive without outside support for weeks, possibly months. Start with water. In any crisis, clean water becomes the most precious resource. Most people think food comes first, but the human body can survive far longer without eating than it can without drinking. You should store bottled water or invest in water filtration systems that don't rely on electricity. Portable filters, purification tablets, or even old-school boiling methods should be part of your knowledge base. The goal is not just to stockpile, but to understand how to create safe water from unsafe sources. Next comes food. In a World War III scenario, supermarkets would be stripped clean in hours, and supply trucks might not arrive for weeks. Your preparation should include long-lasting, non-perishable items like rice, beans, oats, pasta, powdered milk, and canned vegetables or meat. Freeze-dried meals are also an option if you can afford them. But it is not just about having food stored away, it is about knowing how to stretch it, cook it without power, and supplement it with small-scale gardening if the crisis drags on. Even if you live in an apartment, you can grow herbs, sprouts, or small vegetables indoors to supplement nutrition. Another overlooked aspect is energy. In modern life, we are completely dependent on electricity, but in wartime, blackouts, grid failures, and fuel shortages will be the norm. That means having alternative ways to generate and conserve energy is critical. Solar chargers for small devices, battery banks, candles, and fuel-efficient cooking systems should be considered. If you live in a colder climate, extra blankets, thermal clothing, and even learning how to insulate your home with simple methods like plastic coverings over windows can save your life. Medical preparedness is also something most people ignore until it's too late. Pharmacies will run out of supplies quickly. You need to have a stocked first aid kit, but more importantly, you should understand how to use it. Basic knowledge of wound care, infection prevention, and even simple skills like how to stop bleeding or treat burns could make the difference between life and death. If you rely on prescription medications, think ahead. Try to keep at least a few months' supply on hand or research alternatives. In some cases, talking to your doctor about extended prescriptions could be the most important preparation you make. One of the most dangerous consequences of a global war won't just be bombs. It will be the collapse of social order. Desperation leads to crime, and when systems break down, people turn to survival mode. This is why security matters. I'm not just talking about owning a weapon, although depending on where you live, that may be part of your plan. Security starts with awareness and community. Knowing your neighbors, building trust, and creating small support networks will always provide more safety than being isolated. History shows us that in times of collapse, people who work together survive better than lone wolves. Another critical area is financial preparedness. In World War III, currencies could crash overnight. Your bank account balance might mean nothing if systems go offline. That's why it's smart to diversify. Have some cash stored at home in small bills. Precious metals like silver and gold are historically resilient during crises. And just as importantly, invest in practical trade items. Things like batteries, lighters, hygiene supplies, and even coffee or alcohol can become valuable barter goods when money loses meaning. Psychological readiness is perhaps the most underestimated part of preparation. A world war would create unimaginable levels of stress, fear, and uncertainty. Panic is what kills people in crises. You need to build resilience now by practicing discipline, patience, and calm decision-making. Simple routines like meditation, exercise, or journaling may seem trivial, but they strengthen your mind against panic. A prepared mindset is worth more than any survival gear. Another thing nobody tells you is the importance of information. In a world war, propaganda, misinformation, and communication blackouts will dominate. How will you know what's happening if the internet is censored or shut down? Having a battery-powered or hand-crank radio to receive emergency broadcasts is a must. Beyond that, you need to develop critical thinking skills to separate truth from lies. Blindly trusting official sources could be just as dangerous as ignoring them. You should also think about mobility. Many people believe the best option is to bug in and stay home, but depending on where you live, evacuation might be your only chance. If you live near military bases, major cities, or strategic targets, you may need a plan to move to safer areas quickly. That means having a go bag ready, important documents, emergency supplies, clothing, and essentials packed and ready at all times. Even if you never need to evacuate, just having it prepared gives you peace of mind. Now let's talk about skills. Supplies can run out, but skills never do. In a world where systems collapse, the most valuable people are the ones who can do practical things. Learning how to cook from scratch, repair basic tools, purify water, grow food, sew clothing, or even defend yourself physically can all make you indispensable. Consider it an investment. If the worst never happens, these skills still make your life richer and more self-reliant. Finally, there's the question of mindset about the future. Preparing for World War III is not just about expecting the end of the world. It's about resilience and adaptability. Even if a global war doesn't break out, smaller conflicts, cyber attacks, or natural disasters can trigger the same effects. By preparing, you're not wasting time. You're building a safety net for countless scenarios. And that's the key. Preparation is not paranoia, it's responsibility. To sum it up, preparing for World War III doesn't mean digging a bunker and living in fear. It means being realistic about how war impacts ordinary people through supply shortages, power outages, financial collapse, and social breakdown. By focusing on water, food, energy, medicine, security, finances, mental resilience, information, mobility, and skills, you can build a foundation of true preparedness. The point is not to be afraid of the future, but to face it with confidence, knowing you have taken the steps that most people never will. So as you think about all this, remember that nobody's going to tell you these things in mainstream conversations. Governments won't warn you in time, media won't prioritize your survival, and stores won't have supplies once panic begins. The responsibility is yours, starting now. Preparing today gives you the best chance not only to survive, but to help others when the world becomes unpredictable. And that could be the difference between being a victim of World War III and being someone who makes it through stronger than before.